It's the Behind the Shade show.
I look back, Angel, on my life, and sometimes looking back at your past can be scary. It
Yeah.
can be a reminder of things that, you know what, I didn't like that version of me. That version of terrain, ugh, I can't believe I was that way, right? And when you
Yeah,
mentioned Power Rangers, that was like a big source of I can be a Power Ranger. I
that's
can
it.
be something strong. There was a study that was done where there are students that were struggling, young children, and what they did was they dressed them up in costumes, superheroes. They
Mhm.
felt empowered. They felt like they can do anything. When it comes to the work that you're doing, what are some of the ways that you empower people to overcome something that they maybe thought was impossible?
One of the things that I do with people is I try to connect them to their own intuition. So I will challenge them that there's an exercise that we do. I will challenge them and I will say before, and anybody can do this, even your listeners and your viewers can do this. When you wake up in the morning, before you open your eyes, I challenge you. Say these words. Today, my day is easy and effortless. Today, I feel empowered and my world is filled with joy, or something to that effect. You will find that you will have more energy. You will find that your day will become easy. You will find that you will have more focus. The other thing I tell people is get a little candle. And on that candle, I want you to write ancestors. A little white candle. It can be a tea candle. Just write ancestors. And I want you to light that candle and I want you to sit with it and I want you to call on your ancestors and then do nothing and see what you feel. And these are some of the things that actually make feel people have come back to me and said it changed my life. Like within days, I started to feel better, stronger, more empowered. Just those little tiny things. In my office, in the moment when I'm reading, just connecting them to the other side and giving them the validation that the other side exists, that in of itself is empowering. That in itself, people kind of go, they go, wow, there is more than just this life. There is more than just this tangible skin that I live in, right? When I'm able to give that evidence to people through my reading that their mom or their dad is still around, all of a sudden I see people not feel weak anymore. They feel like they're surrounded by that love. You know, I have one woman, she was so tied to her mother, like everything about her life was tied to her mother from A to Z. And when her mother came through, she gave me some things I couldn't possibly know. And when I gave that to her daughter, she broke down crying. And that release to know that her mother was still there was massive, massive. Women who come in and men, I'm not gonna discount them. Women and men who come in who say to me, you know, I'm unlovable. You know, I seem to have a problem finding a partner, and I know it's me. You know, there are so many things about us that we don't realize just those words are holding the relationship away from you. So we talk about maybe reframing your words, how you talk to yourself, what your self-talk is. Sometimes it's not just about psychic work, it's about listening, right? It's about being able to, and then what I'll do, because I use this with my clients, I don't necessarily need them, I use my cards, and that will validate the things I'm saying, right? Watching your words or doing this or moving in this. So by the time they leave, they have enough evidence in front of them and feel empowered enough to move forward because of the things I've given them in our session to go, yes, today is day one.
When they come face to face with what you just shared and they say to themselves or they acknowledge that, Angel, I am the problem. I need to change. I can
Mhm.
see clearly now the rain is gone, right?
Yeah.
Everything makes sense. That next step, is that scary for them to take?
I've not encountered anyone who has left my space that has felt the fear of moving forward. I think I feel like People just need permission, validation, and a sense of being seen. And when they get that, all of a sudden, walking through that door of change doesn't seem as scary anymore. You know, one of the things I talk about with some of my more esoteric friends, and as you can see, I love my deep knowledges, as you can see with Harriet over here. Um, we talk about the idea of hell being a prison whose gates are open. You know, for me, hell is a prison that we go to if we are not accountable for our own actions. But the moment we turn around and we say, I'm accountable, I'm taking responsibility, all of a sudden those gates open and we're free to go to the light. And now, if we look at that in practical terms, we create our own hell on earth, right? We create our own existence, we create our lives. So at any point in time, we can turn around and say, look, you know what? I am responsible for what I did. I put myself in this place. And there's a sense of freedom that comes with it. Is it a scary step? It can be for some people. But again, I've noticed that people who work with the psychic realm, people who work with their intuition, I don't find that that step is as hard. I really don't. And I find the counselors who are very wholly rounded say the same thing, that once we connect the mental and physical with the emotional and spiritual, all of a sudden there's this revelation, this aha moment that happens in a moment, because we're willing to take responsibility because it feels so damn good. Right? I mean, all of us, Terrain, you were saying that earlier, you know, when we look at other versions of ourselves that we don't like, especially as we get older, we can look back at that. I bless those versions of me because that person, that idiot that I was, made me who I am today. You know, I look back on that and I go, look at us now. Thank you for that learning. Someone said to me once, it was really interesting. He goes, how do you live with yourself? I was a seedy producer who would do anything to get what I needed to put a show on the stage. That's what I did, right? The cheating, the lies, that I would do anything. And he said it to me once. He goes, "What? How do you look at yourself?" And I remember going in the washroom and looking at myself and I'm like, I can't do this. I can't be this anymore. And that one moment of, wow, I'm going to take responsibility for my actions. And I actually went out, it was so scary. I went out and I apologized to some of the people that I hurt, some of the people that I cheated, some of the people, and in almost every circumstance, it turned out very well, you know, and in the circumstances that it didn't, where I got an earful, I deserved it. Right? But that version of myself has now made me the producer that I am, someone who I feel is gracious, somebody who will do anything to make an actor feel good, someone who will say, let's work together so that we can make this the best production and I can publicize your thing and let's play. Let's enjoy this ride. I wouldn't be this if I didn't understand that. And sometimes, all the time, I think if we see the darkness, it's to help us become the light that we're meant to be.
And I will agree with that because I think sometimes we look at our past self and we get mad, not knowing our future self is thanking us for what we went through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Would you agree with that?
It's so funny you say that. I had this, and I was going to Instagram it. I had this thought the other week, and I was sitting there and I was going to put out this post to every kid out there, every teenager and every child. You need to hear this. If you feel like crap, if you're going through something really bad right now, just know that your adult self is standing right behind you right now with their hand on your shoulder, letting you know that you're going to be okay. Just know that yourself, when you're an adult, is rocking it and that you're going to be just fine.